Hello everybody and welcome back to Farm Sim 25 and welcome back to our Comlands Survival Challenge where we started 2 episodes ago with just a house, a truck, and a backyard garden. And in the last episode, we managed to buy up a bunch of equipment in order to plant our grass field, which was painfully slow. So today, our first goal is going to be to fertilize the grass field again. I don't know if it needs fertilized, but I'm going to assume it does. So we're gonna do that. But before or after we do that, we're gonna have to go forward in time, and we're gonna have to come up with a way to pick up the grass, whether it's a baler, whether it's a forage wagon. Either way, we're gonna need some way to pick up the grass in order to put it into a stave silo. Now, I've come up with the idea of going with a stave silo, a fermenting silo, and specifically a fermenting silo that's also capable of producing TMR, meaning that this piece of equipment we got right here for half off is actually a waste of time and money. We didn't need this. Because we're going to make our TMR inside a production, this is kind of useless. So, I think first things first, we're just going to sell it. I'm not going to take it all the way up to the thing. I'm just going to bite the bullet on the amount that we end up losing here, which is not all that much. We lost about $800 on this as it sits. So, unfortunate, sure. Could I fix it up and sell it and potentially make a profit? Possibly. But I'd rather, I think I'm just going to cut my losses and go with that. $800 down the drain. My mistake. It wouldn't have been a mistake if I hadn't decided to go with a fermenting silo, but it's fine. We're going to go ahead and get rid of it. We don't need it. We don't have cows yet anyway, so it was a bit of a splurge purchase, but as you can see, we already got our Volvo over here hooked up to our fertilizer spreader, and the field is looking mighty fine over here for April. Look at this. A little bit patchy in spots, but I'm sure it'll fill in. It's looking pretty good though. Overall, there are some spots that aren't the greatest, but I think without further ado, I think we just get on here and do some fertilizing. We are going to head to the top of the field, though, and then come downhill. So, if you guys don't... Sorry about that. My brain went to mush. If you guys forgot, in the last episode, this tractor is very low horsepower, so it's struggling quite a bit with certain things. Mainly these gigantic hills. So we got to kind of start at the top of the hill and work our way down in order to make sure that we're utilizing the spreader properly. But the other thing is I'm going to go ahead and save real quick, even though we haven't done anything. And we are going to turn off the help window, the interactive zone markers, and the field info, because I don't need those on right now. I don't know why I'm driving all the way around the field. I'll be honest, I could have just drove straight through the field. It's grass. It's actually grass, but it's fine. Because we are going to set up our field already. Let's go ahead and do that. And then when we get to the top of the field here, we'll just go from there. So, let's get this party started. Shouldn't take us too long, hopefully. Whoops. And I say that. And immediately screw it up. There we go. Now we've got our full working with. I'll put down the thing in the bottom so you guys can see what the pH is looking, or the nitrogen levels are looking like. We're bringing them up a little bit. It's not a lot. And there are going to be some spots that don't necessarily need it. But I just want to make sure that we have a nice even layer of nitrogen on the field. So that we get the maximum yield possible. So, it shouldn't use a lot of nitrogen, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, we're just going to tend to the field real quick, and then we're going to have to go forward in time at some point. All right, let's back up here. This poor little tractor's like, what are you doing to me? It's bad enough going up the hill, let alone reversing up the hill. No, tractor, just bear with me. You're doing fine. We don't make fun of you. Hey, look at that, it shifted. Look at that. See, I told you could do it. All right, let's get it back. But I love our little piece of property. It may be a pain in the neck right now with low horsepower, but look at how beautiful that little pond is. We got the beautiful river to our south. Like, it's just a good looking piece of property. And these rolling grasslands, Lord have mercy. This is a cow's paradise. Which brings me to my next thing is we're doing all of this for one reason, and that is to build a gigantic cattle empire at some point. Can't do it right away, but that is our goal. We got to try to keep ourselves on target. So today, it's all about getting this grassland ready to go, and then getting the stuff that we're going to need in order to utilize the grassland. It's one thing to cut the grass, but then we're going to have to come up with some way to pick up the grass. Whether it's baling, whether it's the forage wagon, whatever it is, we're going to have to pick it up. And then we're going to have to store it. And again, buying that stave silo or fermentation silo, whatever you want to call it, is going to go a long ways towards that particular project. But that's still a lot of money. Now this won't be ready to harvest next month, I don't think. I think it'll take at least 2 months to grow in. So we'll probably get our first cut off of it in June, if I had to guess. But that's gonna give us a couple of months to save up a little bit of money from all of the produce that we're selling off, and then we'll be able to hopefully get everything we need in the silo that we're after, plus the forage wagon or baler. Plus we're gonna probably need a rake too, and by rake I mean a windrow. Now, we're going to need several different things, and I think that the particular silo that I'm after, it is a production, right? The silo that I'm after is a mod. It is a production silo that allows you to take grass as an input and turn it into hay and silage. But we are also, at some point down the road, if we're going to do cattle and we want to make TMR, we're going to need straw as well, meaning we're going to have to grow some sort of grain crop, whether that be oats, barley, wheat, that sort of thing. Something that's going to give us a straw output. And I'm thinking wheat would probably be a good idea. Pretty simple, straightforward. Should get the job done, right? We're going to have wheat as an outcrop, but we're also going to be able to, which we could potentially turn into flour or something like that. All right, let's go ahead and get in line for our next pass. I think it's this one. Oops. A little too crazy there. Sorry about that. But yeah, so these are just plans for down the road. We don't have any way to do wheat yet. I mean, we could plant it, obviously, with our little tiny seeder, but we don't have a way to harvest it or anything like that. So these are all plans for down the road. I'm just kind of spitballing what my thought process is right now. And I think that is definitely something that we're going to have to consider because, again, cattle empire, we need TMR to get the most out of our cows. And TMR requires hay, silage, and straw, I believe. Might require grass too. grass, hay, silage, straw. I don't know if it requires all of it or if it just requires like silage, hay, and straw. Either way, it's a mixture. So we need several things in order to pull that off. Oh, by the way, for those of you still wondering, if you guys are still interested in naming the farm, I haven't decided on a full name yet. There's been a couple of good suggestions out there. One of them that I liked was Tranquil River Farm. That was pretty nice. But I'm still open to hearing some more suggestions. If you guys are interested, leave a comment down below, and I read through all my comments. If you have any like suggestions throughout any series that I do as well, just leave them down in the comments. I get through them, and I will read and answer pretty much every comment. So I appreciate everybody that does offer feedback. Helps me out. I am by no means a professional farm sim player yet, but I'm getting better day by day. Yeah, there's just something nice and after how long it took me to do yesterday in terms of planting this field, it's just so nice to kind of relax and take care of the field and let things go where they go. You know what I mean? Instead of having to grind for 2.5 hours to plant one field. But at least we're making progress, and I would say pretty quick progress. And once we get this grass field started producing, we're going to have a decent windfall of money every year from silage production until we get up into our cattle production. Then, of course, we're going to use the silage that we produce and put it into the cattle, right? Well, this field doesn't seem as big when you're working it with 42 meter working width. But still, I mean, just look at that slope. That is crazy. This poor little Volvo has definitely put in the work. Already got 4 hours of work, or 4 work hours on this tractor. Just goes to show how much we've put in. Alright, I think we got one more pass. And then hopefully this will lead us to the next month. One of the other things that we're probably going to have to upgrade pretty quickly is this tractor, though. As much as I like this little Volvo, and we'll probably keep it around to do some other small tasks throughout the farm, you know, as we progress, it's not enough horsepower for these hills. It just does not have enough horsepower. But we've got our field nice and fertilized and ready to go. Let's go ahead and cut this loose. Shut down the old tractor. Now, we already have our mower, so that's not an issue. We'll need to get a rake, and we'll need to get a baler or a forage wagon. Now, there is a baler in here, but it requires 275 horsepower, and that is way too much for us. We can't afford that right now. And then we've got this Osdoken Rotocule 620 that is a weeder, right? It only requires 85 horsepower, has a 6.2 meter working width, and does 12 miles an hour. Now, if I remember correctly, when I get into like doing crops and stuff, there's a specific weeder that I like to use, and that is this one, the Rotocare V12 400. It is a 12.4 meter working width and allows you to work at 15 miles an hour. It does require 160 horsepower, but That is by far one of my favorite weeders. Maybe not the biggest weeder in the bunch, but for the price and the working speed, it's pretty nice. And that is base game, by the way, for those of you guys wondering. But I digress. We want to look at potentially how we're going to pick up the grass and stuff like that. So let's look. I'm pretty sure. I think we were already on the grass can here. As far as windrowers go, this Samaz is about as good an option as we're going to get, right? This is 8.4 meter working width, and it allows us to work at 9 miles an hour. It's not the widest thing in the world, but it does work for our tractor. Now, if we go one step higher, that goes up to 9.7. This one requires 120 horsepower, so this would still be usable, but you can see the price difference is substantial. Like, we're talking not quite double the working width, right? And we're what, tripling, quadrupling the price? It's kind of crazy. So yeah, I don't think that we're going to be moving up to something that big, at least not yet. I'm thinking we just go with something like this, and we actually can afford this right now. So we'll probably go ahead and pick up this windrower right now. We won't pick it up from the store just yet, but definitely a good thing to go ahead and pick this up now. So that'll give us a way to rake everything in nice rows and then decide whether we want to use a forage wagon or a baler. Now, in terms of forage wagons, we already looked. This seems to be our best option potentially. It's expensive though. Otherwise, we have the Lizard TARDIS right here. We have enough horsepower for this, and we don't need to upgrade this to the unrealistic version. It could just be a 26,000 liters capacity as well. But I think this is actually the one we're going to go with. It's $50,000, so it's going to be expensive. But we can upgrade it over time to hold up to 260,000 liters of grass too, which would come in huge for us. So yeah, I think that's our better option. It's $20,000 or $27,000 cheaper than the base game version, and it also allows us to go. I guess it's still 10 miles an hour, so it's same speed. But yeah, I think that's probably what we're gonna go with. So $50,000 is needed for that. So next month or maybe the month after, we would be able to do that. So we're going to have enough money in the bank to be able to at least do that. Now, the other thing that we need, if we go into construction menu, we're going to need the factory. It is considered a factory. That's why I was trying to find it yesterday. I couldn't find it. But you can see there are different stave silos. This one is $100,000. And I believe it holds up to 500,000 liters of all the different materials. This one, I believe, would be too small. So you can see we are seriously in trouble when it comes to needing storage space really soon. The other option would be to use this version, which I personally don't like the look of this, but this mod is crazy. Like this mod is way better. In terms of the amount that it's able to do. So we may go with this in the short term just because of the price, and this gets us up and running with our production of everything. I think we will probably end up doing that. I'm probably going to put this off to the side though. So that'll be $30,000. We've got a couple of months to earn some money by selling off our produce that we're making over here, which, by the way, both of our gardens are working just fine. For those of you wondering why I put this ramp in, the trigger for dumping our seed and fertilizer into this particular plot is too high. So I had to put this ramp in order to get the trailer to go high enough to dump seed and fertilizer in. But as you can see, everything is working just fine there. But yeah, let's go ahead, go forward, and see what we can get into now. One other thing that people did mention was potentially getting a dog, and I agree with that. I think we need to get a dog sooner rather than later, but just not quite yet. Let's go ahead and sleep until 10 a.m. All right, so now we've got just under $50,000 in the bank. Now, let's go check on our grass field real quick. Should start to look promising. Oh yeah, that's looking much better. I don't think it's ready to harvest yet. It might be, actually. I guess we could check on it with the map instead of going into turning all of our stuff back on. Yeah, so technically this is ready to harvest. I don't think we're going to harvest it just yet, just because we have nowhere to put it anyway. So it doesn't do us any good to go ahead and do that. And we don't have the equipment to pick it up yet. So I think we just go ahead and wait one more month. That'll grow to its final stage. And then we will hopefully have enough money to buy a forage wagon, as well as get the silo that we need. So let's hope. But let's go forward one more time here. Alright, so we have $73,000 in the bank. We need it minimum a forage wagon, which we know is $50,000. And unfortunately, that's going to leave us a little bit short on being able to put up our silo. Because if we try to put this up, this is $30,000, right? A little bit over $30,000, but we got to have it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this out now. And then we're going to have to figure something out when it comes to getting the actual, what do we call it? Forage wagon. But yeah, if we look at, I guess we can go into our productions and show this off. So this thing allows us to bring in grass, and I believe it can turn it into all of the things, right? If we go down here to TMR, there's a couple of different options. You can turn hay into... Okay, so you can turn hay, silage, and straw into TMR. You can turn hay and silage into TMR if you didn't want to use straw. So that would actually be better for us right now, because we'd be able to make TMR and not have to worry about, what do you call it? Straw, because we don't have straw at the moment. And then, of course, the last one is hay, silage, straw, and mineral feed to make TMR. We're not going to go with that. I think this one would be the one that we would go with. But the problem is we don't even have hay. We do have the ability to dry grass and turn it into hay. You can see we can put in grass. But this holds 2 million liters of everything, which is really nice. Which means we're not going to have to worry about that anytime soon. So that'll be my goal for the time being, is to just try and get our grass into the silo. But I think what we're going to do is I'm going to speed up time. We're not that far off from being able to buy the forage wagon, right? But if I speed up time while we cut the grass, then hopefully by the time we're done cutting the grass and windrowing it, maybe then we'll have enough money in the bank to be able to buy our forage wagon. That's the goal. That's the plan. That's what we're going to do. That's all we can do at the moment. So, yeah, let's go ahead and let's get rid of the mini-map. Start this up. Let's grab our little batwing mower. We will have to go to the top of the screen. You guys know the deal by now. Now, the good news is I don't have to drive around the field. You just drive straight through it. It's grass. But hopefully, once we get to the top of the field, we'll be able to turn this thing down and get it to do what we want. Now, I will initially have to turn on the help marker, just because this particular piece of equipment does have several different features, and I want to make sure that I don't screw this up. Alright, let's go ahead and unfold the Batwing. Now you'll see that it does have a work mode where it shows a mower. You can have this as a brush hog, which gets rid of like bushes and stuff like that. Swathing mower, I had no idea it had that feature. I had no idea it had that feature. So this drops it in a swath already. Well then why would I actually... I don't need... Okay, fine. We just wasted more money. I'm an idiot, man. I had no idea it could be a swather. Well, if it's got a swathing feature, then why would I even bother with this? This windrower can go away. We don't need it. Let's sell it. That's an extra $16,000, and shocker, we got enough money in the bank to buy our forage wagon now. Oh, that is a great realization, y'all. All right, so we are going to buy the TARDIS loader right here. We're going to go normal capacity, so it's just like a normal forage wagon. Ain't nothing special about it. It is upgradable to being unrealistic later on, but we're not going to worry about that. Now, as far as color, does it cost me to change the color? Because I would like a gray. Like, we go with a light gray. I think that would look pretty good. And then, like, a black wheel. So it doesn't cost me any extra to paint this, which is nice. All right, that, I think, looks pretty clean. I think that's what we're going to go with. So, yeah, $50,000. That's going to leave us $9,500 in the bank. That is perfect. I had no idea that the Batwing could do swathing. That is amazing. All right, well, in that case, let's go ahead and drop that real quick. We'll run up to the store, grab our new forage wagon. And I'm totally going to cheese this by resetting it. Oh, look. We made it. So quick, isn't it? But yeah, we're going to go ahead and grab this forage wagon and take it down home. Look at that. Looks like the perfect size little forage wagon for this tractor. Shocker. Almost like it is the exact horsepower, or just slightly under the horsepower requirement for this tractor. Or should I say, this tractor has just over the horsepower requirement for this particular forage wagon. So, I think it'll be fine if we start at the top, work our way down the field, do the headlands, and then do the crossways. I think we'll be fine. I'm wondering if, as we fill this up, if the tractor's going to have enough horsepower to pull it up the hills. Because it's going to get heavy. But hopefully it'll be fine. We'll get this back down to the grass field. We'll drop it where we have the mower at the moment, because we're going to need to pick it up there anyway. I had no idea. The fact that the Batwing actually has a swathing feature is amazing. I had no idea that it could do that. I knew it had like different features like the brush hog and stuff like that, but I had no idea that it had a swathing feature. That's amazing. Well, that makes our job. That means two things. One, I only have to go over the field one time. And then I go over it with the I guess I have to do it twice. I have to go over the field twice. But now that we have the equipment here, you guys can see it all happen all at once. I don't have to like go back and forth. It's kind of perfect when you think about it. All right, let's go ahead and drop this old forage wagon here, or a brand new forage wagon, I should say. Drop it off there. Well, everything's coming up peachy today. I can't believe how well this worked out. Got our new fermenting silo down there that's going to be able to make hay and silage for us. I figure we'll probably start with just making silage. But, yeah, let's get this party started. We are going to go on here, and we will go with 3 headlands passes. Let the battle begin. And I guess while we're doing that, I can go ahead and turn this back off now. we don't need it. Now that we know we're dropping, we won't ever have to change that setting.
It all started around 10 that morning. Sky was clear, birds were singing, and I had a plan. Sun was high and the breeze felt kind. A perfect day with no trouble in mind. Rolled out slow with a smile so wide. Felt like nothing could touch my pride. That Volvo purred with a bat wing in tow. Cut through the grass like a Sunday show. 7 meters wide, rolling clean and long. Each pass felt like a hymn, each cut a song. The field was big, the hills were steep, but that bat wind danced and the cuts ran deep. Had my gloves on tight and my boots set firm, feeling like the king of every twist and turn. But good days got a way of twisting, and that's when I hitched up the wagon. That gray forage wagon, tall and proud, promised riches whispering loud. But the first hill hit like a punch in the chest, and my Volvo groaned, she gave her best. To tires spun, a progress stalled. Felt like I was hauling a mountain wall. Couldn't climb straight, not with that load. So I backed her down and found a new road. Drove to the top, let her coast down slow, one slope at a time, one curse at a time. Over and over I made that crawl, dragged every blade, answered every call. Didn't quit, didn't fold, didn't leave it behind, even when that Volvo nearly lost her mind. Hours passed, the sun got low, but that wagon, it started to show. 750,000 liters deep, stacked in the silo, a harvest to keep. Too much hill, not enough horse, but I pushed through with stubborn force. One trip down, one climb at a time, turned sweat and gears into something fine. That silage will sell and I'll shake that curse. Buy a new rig with a heavy hitch thirst, one that don't blink when the hills roll near, with a seed that fits a farmer with no fear. Volvo tried her best, but now I know what we need. Power. And maybe just a little bit of revenge.
All right, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's pretty satisfying that we ended on almost a full load, but that took entirely too long. Entirely too long. Might actually try to finish this trailer real quick. There's a couple little spots I could swoop up maybe. Perfect. There's our full load. All right. So I have no idea how much grass that was, but it felt like I just harvested the entire map. The mowing wasn't so bad. This tractor is good for the mowing, I think. But as far as the forage pickup wagon, no. No. I don't know if it would be better with a baler, but good God, I do not want to have to do that again. For two reasons. One, this tractor does not have enough horsepower for this forage wagon. Despite it having enough horsepower for the forage wagon, it does not have enough horsepower for these hills dragging this forage wagon. But it does do a pretty good job with the mowing. And let's go ahead and save real quick, and then I'm going to check into the what do you call it? The fermenting silo. See how much grass we actually have. So as you can see, it's not showing me my grass at all. Why show grass? Oh, there we go. Yes, we had a lot of grass, and I'm glad I went this route because we have over 700,000 liters of grass off of that field. That's pretty awesome. And that's also to take into consideration the fact that we are making, or we've already made almost 23,000 liters of silage, which we know is like what did we say it was? It was 1,000. Yeah, so 1,000 for 1,000. So we roughly had about 750,000 liters. I know I'm a little off on that, but almost 750,000 liters of grass that we just harvested off that field. And that field was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So that tells me that this is going to be a good endeavor for us. But we have got to do something about our situation. Let me go ahead and turn on some stuff. But we've got to do something. Let me look into things. Is there a tractor for sale? There's a cotton harvester. That's not going to do me any good. I'm not doing cotton. But we need to look for a tractor. We need to look for a tractor like yesterday. All right, so I still think we're probably going to be in the smaller end of tractors here. But I think we should be able to find something that's a little bit more substantial here. We've got the Volvo BM is what we currently have, 140 horsepower. If we want to upgrade, we would need to go to something like this Rigitrack, which is 150. That's not quite going to be what we want. If I'm going to upgrade from this thing, I want a little bit more of an upgrade. This Valtra N series has 200 horsepower, or capable of being 200 horsepower. You can see if I go for the big engine, though, it's going to be $157,000. There is nothing cheap about that. That is ridiculous. If we look at some of our other stuff, we've got 200 horsepower Massey Ferguson there. Bunch of smaller tractors, 170. This Farmall has the potential to be up to 300 horsepower. And it's kind of within our budget, actually. Like if we were, oh my God. Okay, if we were to upgrade it to the 300 horsepower version, you're looking at $100,000. Yikes. That's kind of crazy. That is actually kind of crazy. I do like the look of this tractor, but that's kind of crazy. And you can get it with a cab. Although I'm not real big on looking at that cab, to be honest. You can go with a chrome pipe. Throw a big old front weight on there. Could have a front loader attacher on this thing, too. Brother, though, that is so expensive. $132,000 is what that would cost us. That would get us a 300 horsepower, old school style tractor. I mean, horsepower wise, it's going to be hard to beat that. And for the price as well. It might be one of those step-ups to the next... Wait, what do we got in this case? 117? Yeah, this might be a case of going up to a medium tractor. Might be actually more cost-effective. Like, look at this Fiat. Fiat's 180 horsepower, 63,500. Again, not quite what I'm looking for. Obviously, we've got the Challenger and the White. These are the same tractor, I believe. That's a little bit more cost-effective. We know this is a fantastic Fantastic Massey Ferguson. But if we're going to look at some potential, we do have mods. So let's see what we can do in terms of. We got this Valtra Valmet, 84,000 for 190 horsepower. We got some John Deeres. I mean, some decent little John Deeres here for the price. 190, 175. I just don't know if it's enough of an upgrade if we were to go that route. And then, of course, we start getting into the big boys that are real expensive. Though there is some cases up here. This case is 97,000. It gives you 261 horsepower. That's not bad. Oh, but that's not that's the small engine. If we want to upgrade, we're going to end up with 142,000, which is a little bit more tough. And then, of course, we have this AGCO, which is essentially the same thing as the other two at the top, where you can get this thing up to 225 horsepower. Could take the weight off. Obviously, we would need to put this on there. That's $97,000, though. That's not bad. I mean, it's not the prettiest tractor in the world, and it's basically the same thing as the white and the other one, Challenger. 225 horsepower for $97,000. That's hard to beat. Yeah, and these are basically the same thing. This little Deutzfahr, though, is hard to beat that, too. This 89,500, you get 230 horsepower. That's hard to beat. That might be the best value right there. Is it the prettiest tractor you ever did see? No. Definitely not. Is it very useful? Absolutely. We throw the compact on there for the crop sensor. We got a $104,000 investment right here. That's going to be able to do pretty much everything we could ever ask. At least for the time being. 230 horsepower is right around what we're looking for. And for the price, that's going to be hard to beat. I do know this McCormick's also very good, but the price of that is absurd. Now, it does start at 264 horsepower, though. What about this New Holland? What we got over here? 224 horsepower for 239. Yeah, I mean, just the price of some of these tractors are just a little outside our budget. Now, I'm kind of looking at this case. I'll be real. I don't want the same things that we've already seen. Like, we've seen some of these other ones. Haven't had a chance. This is a Q Series voucher, but again, $234,000. That's crazy. It's crazy. This Valmet 8750, though, is 190 horsepower, but there's no upgrade there, right? Like, it is slightly more powerful than the tractor we currently have. Does have a front PTO as well. But if we're going to upgrade, I kind of want to keep the old Volvo for, like, mowing, at least for the time being. I just want that next level tractor to do some of the heavy lifting. And I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to not go with the AgroStar 8.31. It's kind of hard to justify going with anything else when it comes to horsepower for cost. There's a lot of different options here for fence, and I've never really used a fence, to be perfectly honest. They're not terrible looking tractors. It's definitely better than the Kloss. As far as looks, I don't like the Kloss. The Kloss colors are terrible. But yeah, as far as everything else goes, it's kind of hard to justify all this. Like this John Deere here, 6R, is 182,000 for not 192 horsepower. That's crazy. Even this Valtra is a better deal than that John Deere. This Valtra is the T-Series, 210 horsepower is what it comes with, $168,000. And you get a front PTO as well. And then there's upgradability down the road. It's not a huge upgradability, but you could eventually go for 271 horsepower. A lot of options on vouchers too. I do like that. But I mean, we're trying to save money. I do like the black interior though. But man, $174,000. How are we going to make that kind of money? Go with the stainless steel tank. For those of you who don't know, I actually had a T-Series voucher on my Farm Sim 22 Broke to Billionaire series that I started before Farm Sim 25 come out. I love that tractor. Got it for sale early in the series, and it was an absolute workhorse for me. Fantastic tractor. Highly recommend. At least in the game, anyway. But, yeah. It is real hard to justify the cost for the horsepower when you got something like that little Deutzfahr right there. I know my buddy would be like, oh, you got to go for the John Deere. And this John Deere right here would be, if I was going to get a John Deere, but again, it's not the biggest upgrade from what we currently have. And I don't know if it's going to be all that much better than the Volvo. Volvo has 140, this has 190. Is 50 horsepower all the difference between being able to climb these hills? I don't know. I really don't know. And you do have, like I said, several different versions of the fence to choose from. This Landini starts at 190 horsepower. And of course we got our Massey Fergusons, which we used some of the Massey Fergusons in the old version, or in the last series. So I'm trying to kind of use a little bit of different equipment in this particular series. I mean, we got a couple of cheaper options here that gets us an upgrade over our Volvo. But I don't know that it would be enough of an upgrade to actually warrant going that direction. But this thing certainly would. 230 horsepower is almost 100 horsepower more than we currently have. It's capable of running at 24 miles an hour. Like, I feel like this is our best bet in terms of our next tractor. Like, this makes the most sense. But we can't do anything with that just yet anyway, so let's just hold. We do already have some stuff in our... let me check our gardens and stuff. Okay, we got water, we got solid fertilizer in there. I'm sure we got seeds as well. Same thing for this one. We're getting a little bit low, but we should still have plenty for now. So that's good. And then, of course, our fermenting silo. Now, one thing that we are going to have to keep an eye on is the water. I think we'll be okay because we have plenty of water, but it's going to take that one pump a long time to fill up this fermenting silo because it holds something like 2 million gallons of water for no reason, I don't think. But, yeah, that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. But with all of that being said, I think we move on now. Let's go ahead and head to the next month. See what maybe we can get lucky and a tractor will come up for sale and we'll, you know, price is right sort of deal. Hopefully. By the way, for you guys who don't know, I've been recording for 3 hours now. That just goes to show how long it is taking with this smaller equipment to do these fields. Like that's not a huge field, but because of the hills and the lack of horsepower, it is a struggle for these things. All right, let's once again take a look in the for sale market. That baler's still in there, but it's still too many horsepowers for us, so we're not going to be able to get it. Okay. Well, when I generally it's going to be January when we sell off silage, right? So we've got some time to not have to worry about the silage. Let me double check. It's usually January. Actually, there's almost no fluctuation whatsoever. which is good. So we could just sell off the silage that we currently have. And I believe there's an option to sell it directly from that, so I wouldn't even have to, like, cart it. How much silage... God darn it. How much silage do we currently have? It's not, oh, man. It resets it every time. Alright, let's go all the way back down to silage. It's not going to tell us. Fantastic. I mean, we could... I guess we just try to sell it. See what happens, right? If we go into our fermenting silo, how much silage do we currently have? 213,000 liters. We have 539,000 liters of grass still. So I think we could just go ahead and start selling the grass silage for the time being. And just go forward another month. Now, we should get popped pretty good for the amount of money that we're going to make next month. So we should, in theory, be able to buy a new tractor real soon. I probably ought to fertilize the freaking grass, come to think of it. Yeah, you can see we need some nitrogen in there. pH is still mostly fine. So probably ought to go ahead and fertilize the grass, which we can do with our tractor. Let's go ahead and drop that. We'll go ahead and grab our fertilizer spreader, and we'll spread some fertilizer on the grass. Hopefully there's enough of the fertilizer left in here. Probably ought to go ahead and fill it up though, because we're going to use a lot more fertilizer this time than we did last time we fertilized it. Because we didn't really need to fertilize it last time. Go ahead and fill up the tank so that it stops asking me for that. There we go. Probably wasn't my best idea to put that right there, but, you know, you live and learn. Alright. Dang, I was way off. All right, here we go. Now, one thing I did notice is if you look on the bottom left corner in the map there, not only do you see the nitrogen getting put down, the fertilizer getting put down, but you'll notice that towards the edges of the spreader, it's lighter than where in the middle. There is actually a setting for that you can change in the menu, but I'm going to leave it on for this playthrough. I like that. It just makes where every harvest isn't going to be perfect, you know what I mean? But I think this tractor is perfect for mowing, at least for now, and it's good for this fertilizing and stuff like that. But when it comes to the harder work, this tractor struggles, specifically when it's going up the hills. So I think we definitely want to work on trying to get a tractor sooner rather than later. Also, we seem to be going through a lot of fertilizer, so I might have to go back and fill up again. Of course, the headlands is the majority, or is the good chunk of the field, so I guess it makes sense. You guys will have to let me know. Sometimes I might just go like long periods of time without saying anything. Just let the game be itself, you know what I mean? Let me know if that's what you guys like more, or if you guys like me to try to fill in everything with talking. Because there are moments where just there's really not a whole lot to say. You're just kind of going through it. And I don't want everything to be a time lapse. Now, one thing is, while we're selling the silage for now, when we start to get into animals, we're going to have to stock up on our silage, make some hay, you know, make some TMR that way. So, when we get to that point, we're going to have to switch over from selling it to holding on to it for our animals, obviously. But for now, since we don't have the animals, now is a great time to go ahead and start selling it so that we can, you know, upgrade equipment and stuff like that, and then hopefully be able to increase the size of our operation before we get our animals. Once animals are usually sort of a last step. You got to have your entire like setup ready to go, right? You got to have everything that supports the animals in place. Otherwise, you just end up with dead animals. Nobody wants dead animals. Animal cruelty is not funny, right? If you're gonna have animals, you got to take care of them, and that is the thing. You take care of your animals, they take care of you back. That's how that works. But it looks like we're coming up to the end of the field. Everything went pretty smooth there. Another thing that we probably ought to look into getting is a roller for the grassland. I do have a couple of modded rollers that we might be able to get over for the grass, but I'm not worried about it right now. I mean, we're getting plenty of grass for the time being. That extra little bit of grass isn't probably going to be the be-all, end-all. But I do kind of want to look at our environmental score and see how we're doing in that regard as well. We only have the essentially 2 fields. So for us, it's 1 field, but for the game, it's 2 fields. So we'll have to look and see what the environmental score says about those 2 fields. But I'm pretty happy with how everything's going so far. Can't wait to see how much money we make off of the silage. I feel like we got a pretty good chunk of silage already. Go ahead and drop that. Shut her down. And then we can go forward. We've done everything we need to do. The good thing about grasslands is they're pretty low maintenance. You just cut them, fertilize them, lime them occasionally, roll them if you got a roller, and then rinse and repeat. Dude, look at the money, y'all. We're over $100,000. That's what I'm talking about. Selling off that silage is huge. Oh my gosh. All right, we're rich, y'all. We're actually rich. Not really. We're still a long ways off from being able to afford a good tractor, I feel like. But sold products, I mean, you can see that every month we've generally been selling about $23,000 worth of produce. Last month we sold $60,000 worth of produce because of the grass. Now, I don't think that'll count as harvest income, right? Just double checking. So, yeah. So, basically, everything we just got, we've got $22,000 already paid this month, plus the $60,000 from that. I mean, we're making some money now. All right. Also, we can go ahead and check in and check on our guys. So, for our garden, I mean, we're still doing fine on seed and fertilizer in the small one. In the decent sized one, we're still doing okay. We got a couple of months worth of stuff left there. As expected, the water is starting to come down on those because it's taken so long to fill up this 2 million liters. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But as far as silage, you guys can see that we got about 300,000 liters of grass left to turn into silage. So that's going to be big for us. Let's look into the used market, see if we got anything. We got a grape harvester, or an olive harvester, sorry. That's not going to be worth it for me. This is a forage harvester mower. Again, not really worth it for me because I don't have a forage harvester. So, if we look at the amount of money that we're going to have, hopefully next month, you know what? Let's just go forward. Let's stop worried about it. Hold on. Let me check my field. I did want to check in on the precision farming side of things. So, from a precision farming... Oops. pH is looking really good across the board. That's great. Nitrogen is looking fine for what we're doing. Yield was pretty good up in the top section, and then not as good at the bottom as you'd expect from the silty clay. But still, pretty solid overall. I mean, if we look at our economic analysis of our property so far, I mean, we're averaging 111% yield potential off of this upper field, which is the majority of our grass. So that's really good. But the good news is we've already technically earned money. Like, we're profiting off of that field. One cut, and we're already profiting off that field. That's huge, right? And if we look at this bottom section, economic analysis, we're still technically in the yellow or in the red here, but that should pay for itself the next cut. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how we're doing. Pretty happy with how we're doing. All right, let's go ahead and go forward another month. We can harvest again or cut the grass again next month. I think in this version of the game, you can harvest every 2 months, and I don't think you actually get a bonus for waiting for that third month. But they may have fixed that. I don't know. I haven't tested it. This will be the first time I've actually really done grass for a like any amount of time. All right, so the grass is definitely going to be ready to harvest now, for sure. So this is going to be solid for us. Look at that grass looking fantastic. Looking fantastic. The pH value is now considered bad in some areas. And if we look at our overall details, we are now at 100%. We now get a 15% environmental score yield. So yes, awesome there. Very happy with that. So, very happy with that. We got $149,000 in the bank. I want to buy a new piece of equipment. Now, we could keep this Volvo around, and that would allow us to do multiple things at the same time, which is never a bad thing. And again, we already said this thing is fully capable of being a mower. But I'm also thinking, like, I guess we use this to fill up the seed and stuff here, don't we? Yeah, we're going to need to do that again, speaking of the devil. All right. I think we keep the Volvo and we try to get a tractor. Let's see if there's anything in here. There's a baler. Requires 120 horsepower. Creates a round bale up to 125 centimeters. That's a pretty small bale. Pretty small bale there. There's never anything that I need. Okay, let's get in here. So what did we say that we were looking at in terms of horsepower? Obviously, the Deutz-Fahr 230 horsepower is probably the best deal. We got $150,000 essentially to make this work. It's just, it's not even close. It's got to be the Deutz-Fahr. As much as I hate the look of this thing, it's kind of got to be this, at least for the time being. We can always trade this thing in later for a better tractor, or at least a nicer tractor. But for the price, you can't beat it, man. You just can't beat it. $104,000, 230 horsepower. We can swap out the wheels too if we need to. I don't think that's really necessary. Could go with the rear twins. Again, I don't think it's really necessary. Could just go with some beefy wide tires. I think that's where we go. I think we just use some beefy wide tires. $107,000. Let's go ahead and buy it. It's hard to beat that. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we have us a brand new tractor up there, which is good. The next thing that we're going to need to end up thinking about replacing would be something like this. But let's go take a look at our brand new tractor. Look at this thing. It's good. It's a good little tractor. Like, there's nothing wrong with this tractor. It's got a front PTO. It's got everything you could possibly need, except maybe a front end loader, which I didn't look to see if that was possible. But I mean, it should be fully capable of doing what we need. And I bet it doesn't struggle going up and down that hill. Listen to that turbo. Good old turbo diesel engine. Still not particularly fast at 25 miles an hour, but what we're looking for is raw power to pull that forage wagon up the hill. That's what we're after. We're going to get this thing back down to the farm and hook it up to that forage wagon. And I believe we actually have enough money to go ahead and upgrade that forage wagon as well. As a matter of fact, I probably should do that while I'm up here, because I got to reset it. I don't have a workshop down home, so if I stay up here, then I can reset the forage wagon, pick it up with this thing, take it straight over to the workshop, get it fixed that way. That's the fastest way to do it. And I think it's like $20,000 to upgrade it to the bigger version. Emptying that thing every 26,000 liters is rough when you're doing 750,000 liters of grass. All right, let's go ahead and do this. We go to the map. Go down here to our little forage wagon. Should be right here. If we reset it, there's our little forage wagon. Perfect. And we can bring that thing over here, get it brought into the upgrade area. Whoops, wrong one. We'll upgrade this. So we want to go the extra large capacity. We're not going with the silage additive, just an extra large capacity, $20,000 for the upgrade. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger on that. That's just going to save me time going forward. Whoops. Always on connection. There we go. Now we get this thing back down to the farm. We've got our second tractor, y'all. Pretty happy. And the amount of money that we made off of that first harvest of grass is pretty good as well. I can't really complain. can't really complain. Now the best part is, I should be able to have AI mow the field while I pick up the grass behind it. In theory. Which would save us a ton of time. And I might be crazy here, but I think we might go ahead and do that today. I mean, I've already been recording for 3.5 hours. But I feel like it's not going to take that much longer to do the next harvest because we now have better equipment. In theory. I know the grass mowing is going to take some time, especially if the AI is doing it. They're going to struggle with the headlands. So maybe we only do one headlands pass. Hello, tractor? Air brakes. Gotta love them. All right, let's go ahead and jump back in. I'm sure it's ready to harvest, right? Yeah, it is officially ready to harvest. So we're going to go ahead and jump in our other tractor. Pick up the bat wing. It should already be set for the... see, what mode is it? Oh, we gotta unfold it first. We'll get to the top of the hill, then we'll unfold it. But size difference between these two tractors, there really isn't that big of a difference. It's just horsepower. One's got a turbo diesel, the other one does not. I mean, look at them next to one another. I mean, there's a little bit of a size difference there, but not as big as you'd think. Alright, let's go ahead and unfold. Now, this should be in swathing mower. We go AI. We'll give it 2 headlands. That's fine. And then let it go to town and see what it does. I say I thought for sure it was about to crash into that tree. Headlands are always weird for the AI. They end up making every little cut. How far are you going to back up there, Sunshine? What are you doing? You know what? I thought about this just now. I'm going to go ahead and tell the AI to leave the headlands alone. Sorry. Let's go ahead and turn off the headlands. How about that? Can you do that for me? How about now? Okay, get in your little line, back up, and get the party started. Perfect. All right. So now he's going to be fine. We're just going to go ahead and swoop in behind him and start grabbing all the grass up. Now we're still limited to the amount of speed that we're going to have based on the piece of equipment. However, let me go ahead and set this to steering assist. This should be 7 meters. Two headlands, I believe. And actually, we're going to have the lines turned off. I don't think I need the lines. There we go. Why do I feel like he's still working the headlands, though? Could have swore I turned the headlands off, but maybe I didn't. Will say this. This thing is seeming to be much nicer at moving this forage wagon than the old tractor. Shocker. This will be the moment of truth as we come up to this hill. If we can maintain 11 miles an hour, I'll be thrilled. Okay, we are losing speed, but we're still faster than we've ever gone up this hill before. I would expect it to downshift, but it's not. We'll let the AI turn around. Beautiful view over the side of this cliff, isn't it? Still not exactly sure what the AI is doing here. This is what you're just witnessing out in front of you. It's like, what in the world are you doing, Bobby? Get that tractor moving. This tractor does not care about the hill as much. It's still not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. That I can assure you. Considering at times I was down to 2 miles an hour in the old tractor. But the good thing is, he's got a 7-meter working width, and he's able to harvest or mow the grass at like 15 miles an hour. Whereas me, I'm only able to do 11 miles an hour, meaning he's going to stay ahead of me. So I should be able to, in theory, other than the Headlands Pass where he gets caught up on corners and stuff like there. Once he's done with that and doing the down and backs, like, he should stay ahead of me the whole way. In theory. So that took us about, what, an hour? Hour, 10 minutes? Something like that? To do both? That is a huge improvement. So yes, I'm very thrilled with our new equipment. I think this is going to go a long ways towards doing us very well. But I think we can go ahead and shut this thing down. Actually, we can go ahead and leave that on at the moment. Let's get our tractor out of the way. Now, I'm going to go ahead and fertilize, I think. Let me go ahead and save. We'll go ahead and check out the precision farming map and make sure we're doing okay. So obviously we're going to need some nitrogen. pH is still looking mostly good, so I don't think we have to worry about lime. So yeah, should just be able to fertilize. So we will actually go ahead and fire this up. Fold the old mower deck up. Drop this off over here in the yard. Grab the fertilizer sprayer, or spreader. And then I'm just going to let the AI do that while we think about going to the next video, to be perfectly honest. Because we have been recording for almost 5 hours straight now, so it's about that time. But I think we got a lot done today, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let me get the AI set up real quick. And I think I will go ahead and just let the AI buy their fertilizer. Just so I don't have to deal with it. It's going to cost us a little bit extra money, but I just don't want to have to stop in the middle of it. But as you guys see, we might as well go ahead and fill up our seeds and stuff here too while we're thinking about it. Solid fertilizer. One trailer of each should be pretty good. Okay, now we'll grab seeds too. Come on there. There we go. Alright, that should do for the time being. If we look at our production, our fermenting silo is still going to be going to town making silage for us. We have lots more silage, or lots more grass in there now, so it's going to continue to make silage for the foreseeable future. Our small garden has plenty of seeds and fertilizer still, and our bigger garden has plenty of seeds and fertilizer the last several months, so we're good back there again. So we don't have to worry about that. As far as water goes, both of them are looking okay. And again, this is going to take up most of our water for the foreseeable future, just because it takes forever to fill that thing up for some reason. It needs 2 million gallons of water. But I think this is a good spot to go ahead and leave off. The one thing I will look forward to in the next episode is we're going to look for a roller. I believe we have some grassland rollers. If we go over here to Grassland Care, you can see we have a couple of Dalbo rollers. One is only $35,000, so hopefully next month we'll be able to roll the grass field. Or at least starting from next month on, we'll be able to roll our grass field. We'll get a little bit more yield out of it, which I don't necessarily think we need, but it can't hurt, right? But other than that, I am excited. Like, we have done a lot today. I'm not looking forward to editing this video, but I feel like we did everything we needed to do today. Got a lot of work done. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys are still enjoying the series, punch that like button for me. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.